In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly told that success comes from speed and constant action. We're encouraged to hustle, to work harder, to keep moving forward at full speed. But what if the key to success, peace, and fulfillment is not in constantly rushing, but in slowing down, listening, and being present? This story, inspired by ancient wisdom, offers a powerful message about the value of taking our time and how doing so can unlock a deeper understanding of life. This story takes place in a peaceful village surrounded by mountains and rivers, where people live simple, harmonious lives. However, one young man named Arun, who had the unique ability to hear the whispers of the wind, was constantly misunderstood by the villagers. He spent his days sitting under the trees, listening to the wind, while others rushed to complete their tasks. They called him lazy, even though he was more attuned to the rhythm of nature than anyone else. Arun's gift of hearing the wind's voice was a rare one, and the village elders, who were wise and respected by all, knew that this gift held profound meaning. They understood that those who listened carefully to the world around them, to the natural rhythms, could sense things others could not. Yet, in a society that valued productivity and speed, Arun's behavior was seen as unproductive and even foolish. But Arun wasn't idle. He was waiting, listening, and learning from the very air that surrounded him. The wind, in its quiet way, carried messages of wisdom that only those who took the time to listen could understand. It wasn't about rushing to conclusions or solving problems immediately, but about understanding the deeper truths that lay beneath the surface. As time passed, Arun began to notice a shift in the world around him. The villagers were becoming increasingly anxious, rushing to complete their work, fighting against time and each other. Their energy was scattered, and the harmony of the village was beginning to fade. The land, once lush and abundant, began to show signs of wear. Crops were not as bountiful, and the rivers, which once flowed freely, were beginning to dry up. One day, the village's wise elder, who had observed Arun's gift, approached him. "Arun," he said, "what do you hear? The villagers are in turmoil, and the land is showing signs of distress. What is the wind telling you?" Arun sat quietly for a moment, listening. The wind spoke softly, but clearly. "The wind is telling me that the village is in a hurry," he said. "They rush through life, trying to do everything at once, without listening to what the land, the sky, and the earth are telling them. They need to slow down, to listen, and to reconnect with the rhythms of nature." The elder nodded thoughtfully. "The people of this village have lost something vital. They have forgotten how to listen. They are so busy doing that they forget to be. You, Arun, have understood the value of stillness, of waiting for the right moment, of listening. It is time for the village to learn this wisdom too." The village elder told Arun to gather the villagers and ask them to join him under the great tree where he often sat. Reluctantly, the villagers gathered, still unsure about Arun's way of life. He asked them to close their eyes, to breathe deeply, and to listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the sounds of nature around them. For the first time, they stopped. They let go of their worries, their work, their rush to achieve. The wind whispered gently through the trees. The birds sang softly in the distance, and the earth seemed to pulse with life beneath them. In that moment of stillness, the villagers began to understand what Arun had known all along. The answers they sought were not found in frantic activity, but in listening, in pausing, and in being present. The elder spoke once more. "In this silence, we can hear the truth. The world does not demand that we rush. The earth does not grow because we rush it. The rivers do not flow faster because we want them to. Life unfolds in its own time, and our job is not to force it, but to understand its natural pace." Arun continued, "We are all so focused on the end goal, the result, the next step, that we forget the importance of the journey itself. The wind teaches us patience. It teaches us that there is power in waiting, in listening, and in understanding what is happening around us before we act. From that day forward, the villagers began to change. They still worked hard, but they no longer rushed through their tasks. They learned to listen to the wind, to the earth, and to each other. They took their time, and in doing so, their work became more meaningful, their lives more fulfilling, and the village began to thrive again. Crops flourished, the rivers flowed with abundance, and the people, though no less busy, felt a deep sense of peace that they had been missing before. Arun's message had resonated with them. It is not the speed at which we do things that define success, but the mindfulness with which we approach our lives. The value of slowing down, of listening deeply, of waiting for the right moment, can lead to a life that is richer, more connected, and more meaningful than any rush to achieve could ever provide. And so, the village learned a lesson that is still relevant today. In a world that often values speed and productivity, there is profound wisdom in taking a step back, slowing down, and listening to what the world is telling us. It is through stillness and patience that we find true peace and success. The wind, as always, continues to carry its gentle message to those who are willing to listen. By embracing the teachings of slowing down, we can shift our focus from endless hustle to meaningful presence. Whether in our careers, relationships, or personal growth, learning to pause, to reflect, and to truly listen can lead to greater happiness and fulfillment. So, next time you feel the pressure to keep moving faster, remember the story of Arun and the wind, and allow yourself the space to breathe, to wait, and to listen. May this message guide you to a more peaceful, more balanced life.